Hello, my name is Lloyd Dew and I'm going to be talking about my final year project, which will be a study. Originally I was going to do my final year project on starting up a studio in a distributed environment, but due to the minimal books out there on it, I decided to go with a more focused project that follows on from my placement year. The project is taking the transition from a team of hobbyist game developers to a professional game development studio. During my year out of uni, I decided to start my own computer game studio with myself and another student at the uni. During this time, we found a team of motivated people to work with us on various projects that we came up with. We made a prototype for the Edge Create challenge called Lima Fever, and we had other projects that we were working on internally, such as Getting Off-World. The team at current consists of 5 people from a variety of educational backgrounds and from all across the world. From computer games tech, graphics, music production and computer science, we have a broad variety of people that have worked on multiple titles within our studio that are currently in production. The reason we took on these guys as part of the team is due to their motivation towards the computer games industry and their passion for games. The reason that I'm doing this for my final year project is because we aren't ready to jump into professional development internally and from external publishers. Last year we were offered a publishing deal from the director of Kujo Entertainment, but didn't have the experience or skills to be able to pursue what they wanted to make. Also, we haven't formed an actual company yet. We haven't used Company House to register our name. A lot of the team have been taught to use licensed software such as 3ds Max and the Adobe Suite, and they have had to learn open source equivalents, but their production quality of their artwork wasn't to the greatest standard while using that software. We don't have any way to pay the team members until we have a launched product and an income. Using sources such as GDC I can look at previous startups and their methods of gaining success. Creating a series of case studies using successful development studios that form into interviews to answer identified questions and solve the problems at startup games. This will guide us in a way where we can form an actual game studio. This will give myself and the team the opportunity to jump into a job that we have created ourselves. I feel that using the opinions from successful dev teams is the best way to solve problems at startup games. Using other people's experiences at starting up studios creates new methods and techniques to approaching game business. When I started the research phase, I had to create a plan to handle such a large project. Due to me not coming up with a focused idea, I had made multiple plans for the different projects that I came up with. Initially I started with a Gantt chart, but over time I didn't find it very helpful. As the idea became more focused, over time a lot of the research undertaken was not needed for this project. As you can see from the screenshot, I have used Trello, which is a free-to-use project management software that arranges all of the tasks into boards which you attach to projects. Each of the boards contain work to complete and a deadline to complete it by. Using this software recently, I have found my planning increasingly getting better and better. After the initial planning, over time I wrote out the table of contents for the project as a guide through the areas I want to investigate. Having a draft of each section has helped me gain a start. I find it daunting when staring at a blank page screen, starting a project, and this was the best way to get myself more confident with dealing with this unit. As you can see from the screen grab, there is a picture of the table of contents of the plan that I laid out. My current lit review mainly consists of talks from GDC which contains a variety of quotes that I will be including in my report that will support my study. I will talk about these more in the next slides. The Indie Development Survival Guide, although it is a very outdated book to the current form of the computer games industry, it still includes many of the main factors that form a computer game studio. As Startup Games has been working in a distributed environment for the past year, I picked up a copy of Distributed Game Development by Tim Fields to get an idea of the techniques that are used in the industry. I used a couple of quotes from this book in my lit review. On this slide I put a few quotes that I will put in my lit review that I found particularly interesting that would benefit my study. Consider marketing strategy and development two sides of the same coin and try and work them in with each other. I feel this is key when running development on a game. If you don't have the audience that wants your game, there is almost no point in making it. That is depending on your intentions of the game, but if it's for sales and profits, this is essential. It would also take down the amount of staff you require. Let's say, for example, if you had a team member that can work closely with the marketing team. this would bring down the cost of marketing massively. The first selection of information I'm going to have to collect from other developers is identifying what a professional developer is. I have already asked Sony games developer Mitu Kahanaka if she can answer this question for me, and she has agreed to do so. This will be the point in my report where I justify what a professional games studio is to support my study. And in my opinion, it's better to get this answer from someone that has already started up a studio rather than the general public. The next point of my study is the case studies that I will put together on each studio and interview the developers from within that studio. This will be used as the data that I'm going to justify to be able to start up the studio and correctly address problems at startup games. I have spoken with Orkun Adsoy, that has also started up his own studio within the University of Portsmouth, and he has agreed to have an interview to get the answers that I require. His studio already has a published game and is currently working with clients on other projects, so his data will be essential to my study. This is one of the 3 case studies that I plan to have completed after the Christmas break. The other case studies have not been confirmed, but with current contacts I will be able to communicate with the other studios to get the developers to interview. I'm using my lit review as a starting point, what questions I have to ask the developers. I'm using this because, in my opinion, there is no point asking the questions if they have already been answered elsewhere, for example on the GDC Vault Talks. Each set of questions asked will be formed around each studio and what games they make. As Startup Games is planning on producing games on iOS devices, my main target will be the developers that have had a produced game on that platform or are currently developing for that platform. This will make sure that the information that I collect will be relevant to the study and Startup Games. The problem that I have at the minute is that I haven't sent off my ethics review form yet, because I've only just recently decided that all the information gathered through the interviews is going to be from studios and not the general public. As my audience is very focused for the interviews, I have completed the ethical review form and sent it as an attachment along with this presentation. While working on this project, I have gone through 3 project ideas, all with the start to the report along with relevant research. As this work is now not relevant to the project, I have had a new start to the study with a draft written for the introduction and the methodology. During the Christmas break, I intend to get a first draft completed of the report without the interview questions answered. But after the break, I intend to have all of my information collected within the first month so I can complete the project before the hand-in date. I must admit though, I have been very daunted by a project of this size, and it's a nice feeling to have it finally focused so I can get a good start on it. And to mention that is a project I am now truly interested in to complete, it will benefit my future after graduation. Here is a list of what I intend to have completed within the first 2 months of coming back to uni. It doesn't match up to the plan, but due to other personal problems I haven't been able to keep to the plan to the best I should have. But learning from my mistakes, I know that rushing a project of this size won't be the best, but at least I now have a thorough plan and a good project aim to be able to complete the project. As I'm sending this as a video, you could send me the questions back to me in an email or on Skype, and I can respond through there. Thanks for listening.